It is an unusual story in that many years ago I was in a school that changed its method of teaching. We used the look and say method then, and where the children memorised the whole words. It worked for most of the children, but there was a group of children that didn't work for. And then our head of department thought she'd find out why. Could we do something about these children? And she noticed the children further up in the school. The good readers, when they came to a word they didn't know, they worked it out. But the poor readers, when they came to a word, they guess it or shrug their shoulders, don't know. And then she looked at their letter sound knowledge and realised that they just did not have the skills for working the words out. And it was her decision that we should change our method. And right at the beginning, instead of doing whole words, we would teach the children the letter sounds and how the alphabetic code works. And at that stage, it was mostly for reading, was blending. So we taught the children the letter sounds, no reading books for the first term. We taught the children the letter sounds and how to work the words out. And there were 3 of us classes and a large school, and we all saw this huge improvement. And then later on, the children were always tested at 7 years old on standardized reading tests. And there was the huge jump as well. Technically, we went from a quotient of 102 to 108. 6-point jump in a quotient is very, very high, highly significant. And then we had another experience. A researcher wanted us to do his program, and his philosophy was that we should teach the children to hear the sounds in words before we started to teach them to read. And it was a program that was totally unsuitable for a classroom. It was tape recorder and all these tapes and 44 children in the class. It was impossible. But one thing that came out that was good was that it taught us that some children could hear those sounds easily and some children struggled. So instead of doing the program any further, I started to simplify it and say, listen carefully. You know, you want to write the word dog, listen, d, o, g. And by doing that a few times each day, tune the children in, and then all the children could hear the sounds. And now the best happened of the results. The below average tended to go into the average and above because they knew how to do it. And of course, in hindsight, I've looked back and thought, well, why on earth didn't I think about this before? If the children can't hear the sounds in words, and I don't teach them, they cannot understand how the alphabetic code works. And that was an eye-opener to me. And then after that, I kept telling everybody, look, this is the way to solve the problems for the children at the bottom and make all the children better. And then one day I met a man called Christopher Jolly, and he listened to me because at that time it was very much anti-phonics, but he thought this makes sense and also was very impressed with our results. And after that, we've worked together for many years.